Hello and welcome to Cucumber Comics. Today we are going to be looking at every episode of The Ninth Doctor. So there's about, I think there's 13 of these, I can't be sure though. And I already uploaded yesterday, but I just decided to do a really quick video today. And I'll be doing I'll be uploading more frequently now, but I still won't be uploading daily or something like that. I'll be going back to like weekly uploads in like August, September-ish. So I'll start with The Empty Child, and The Empty Child will get a S tier. Now, I do actually prefer this over the Doctor Dances. I do like the Doctor Dances, but it's not an S. But The Empty Child is an S, and I do enjoy it. And it is a good episode. Stephen Moffat's a great writer. And I know people don't have stopped liking him as much since his time as showrunner. But I can't really, other than Series 7, I don't think he really had a bad series. I mean, sure, Series 10 was mediocre, and like 6 was confusing. I actually like 6. It's probably my favourite of the Matt Smith era for some reason. I don't know why. I really like lore and stuff. Anyway, The End of the World gets an A. Actually, might get an A. Now, this is basically just a big fancy special effects thing, but it also shows a good Doctor and Rose more character, because the Doctor is bringing her to like the end of her world, so she can see what it's like for your world to end, and so that makes like for an interesting dynamic. But it is kind of let down by some of the story beats and Cassandra's a villain. That's why it's on S tier. And also, it just kind of just feel like a new flashy display of special effects and stuff after Rose. Actually, I think I'll move it around to B, because it is good, but it's not A or S. Now, Boomtown. Boomtown is quite underrated, but it's still a B. Now, people would normally give this like a C or a D or something like that. Let me explain why I don't do that. I think it gives Mickey character, and that's like you need to give Mickey character for series 2 to work as a whole and the plot line there. And so this like does good at making him not the bumbling idiot anymore, more of just like an actual character with feelings, emotions, stuff like that. And someone who turns down the Doctor this time instead of Doctor turning him down. So I thought that was kind of nice character development. And it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. Like thoroughly. It was an enjoyable episode. I don't see why people don't like it that much. The Parting of the Ways is getting an S instantly. This is my favourite episode of the Ninth Doctor era. Now, I love the Daleks and all, and while some people say Dalek is a better Dalek episode, I don't believe that, because I always think they should be in big numbers. But like, I mean, Dalek is really good, and I'll get to that in a bit. But I do always think they should be in bigger numbers than like one lone Dalek. Same with Cybermen. Yeah, it's like if Cyberwoman had been better, then it would have been kind of that kind of episode. But it wasn't. But yeah, so I really liked this episode. It's a nice like final huzzah or something for the Ninth Doctor. And he's good in this. This is his best performance definitely. Betty Pepper's fine. I don't really like Rose. I've kind of soured her after series 2, but in this series she's not that bad, so I'm not sure. It's very unfair to compare her to series 2. But anyway, I'll move on. World War 3 gets a C. Now, Aliens of London I give a B, but World War 3 is definitely a C. It is the weakest episode of series 1. But anyway, yeah, great episode, great story. Not really. No, I'm kidding. It's not very good. It is kind of bad, like from a technical standpoint, and I would prefer the rest of these. This is one of the ones that I wouldn't rewatch. I wouldn't rewatch Aliens of London either, but I can at least like favor that for this, because it is a lot better and it is more well done from a character and theme perspective. And this is definitely like it's basically the journey's end of series 1, but like not at the end. And like it's got a pretty good first part, and then no, it's got a like mediocre first part, a bad second part, which is in series 4, it's a incredible first part and a mediocre second part. So it's kind of related to that in a way. Next is Dalek, and this gets an S, so it's second. It is my second favorite episode of the series, and I love the Daleks, as I've stated already. And this one does really well with them, in my opinion, anyway. I think it's just got some really nice It really explores the Daleks and gets them set up for a giant, big, incredible finale. And the Daleks are really good in this episode, and I would recommend this to any Dalek fans or any people who used to watch old Doctor Who and thought the new one was too flashy and stuff. I would recommend this episode because it definitely is more like the old series, and it makes the Daleks a legible threat again after they'd kind of fallen from grace in Classic Who towards the end of the 7th Doctor era. Now, the Doctor Dances is kind of overrated, but it's still good. It's not as good as The Empty Child. It doesn't have the same kind of threats and stuff, and I think a bit of a lackluster solution to the cliffhanger. But it's still really good, and I would put it there. The story overall is good. It's just not this part is as good as the first part. The Long Game also gets an A, which is another one of my controversial opinions because most people think this episode is really bad. I don't. I like it. It's pretty good. It's got some subtlety, and it's gonna forever be it's gonna be timeless now because of the news stuff in it. I think anyway, it's gonna be way more timeless than Bad Wolf or something like that, which uses game shows. And I think it's a solid episode. And see why people don't like it. The Unquiet Dead gets a B, and it's behind these two. The Unquiet Dead is a strange one because I don't hate it, but it is forgettable. As in forgettable, I mean when I rewatched the series, I actually forgot there was an episode in between, the Aliens of London 2-parter and the End of the World. So that was a pleasant surprise for me. It wasn't the worst episode ever, I'll give it that. It was somewhat fine, but I mean, it's almost like an 11th Doctor episode, where it's so boring and the pace is kind of bad, but it isn't necessarily like offensive anywhere like World War III, so you can't really give it anything bad, but yeah, if it had been, I would give it a C. But overall, it isn't awful, I guess. Aliens of London will get a B. That's above The Unquiet Dead. This is actually not awful, I guess, but it isn't great either. It's got a few problems. When I mean a few, I mean quite a lot. But it isn't the worst episode of Series 1, and World War III is a lot worse, even though some people say it's better. But this episode has loads of problems, such as the pig thing. There's a lot of stuff to name. There's so much wrong, but there's quite good things in this episode too. The farting aliens are stupid. I wish it had been the Zygon story, because then I'm gonna do away with the farting aliens, which is the worst part of these 2-parter. And of course in the second part where nukes are unleashed by putting in a password. I'm pretty sure that's not how nukes work, but anyway. That's there now. And I don't think it's that bad. Bad Wolf gets an A, but by no. I consider The Long Game, Bad Wolf, and Departing of the Ways as a 3-parter, and it's the weakest of the 3-parter, but it's still incredible. It's not as timeless as The Long Game or as entertaining as Departing of the Ways, but it is better than any of the B ones, definitely. It's enjoyable enough, actually. Even for the time and how it's dated a bit with the game show stuff. But I think that maybe it kind of adds to its charm, to be honest, and I don't hate it. Some people don't like this, actually. I've recently heard about. They think it's kind of a waste, and they should have just used the Daleks in part 1. But I don't think that would be a worthy cliffhanger to get people to come to the next one. And I think it worked as a third episode. Introduced a few of the key themes and characters from the first one, but it didn't override the second one, so it wasn't more important than Stolen Earth. Stolen Earth was way better than the second part. Journey's End was kind of bad, but this part doesn't overshadow the second part, so that's nice. Rose gets the top of the B. I can't really give this an A, even though I would like to, because it's not that good of an episode, really. Villains and character-wise. I mean, the Destiny Contrast is pretty cool, but I mean, the mannequin things are a bit... the Autons, I think they're called, are a bit lackluster, and they maybe should have used some other kind of villain, maybe the Zygons. That would have been cooler, and they were disguised as mannequins. I think that could have been a fairly good story. And all you had to really explain would be that the Zygons can shift colour. You wouldn't have to explain the Destiny Consciousness is controlling everything. Yeah, okay, it's not very good in that department. but it is good in introducing the show and having a nice setup for the show. Yeah, I do enjoy it overall, and it's not that bad. But it is a bit lackluster and it is a bit mediocre. But it's good enough. Like, I would rewatch it. It's quite fast paced and it's well. Now we get to Father's Day, the last one. No, I think it's S material, and it gets here. It is a good episode, and I really like this one. It's it's a lot more mature than some of the other episodes in series one with like the fighting aliens. And it's kind of like showing that it gets better after episode 5. Like, it definitely improves. Even though I don't think Long Game's that bad. Everyone thinks it is not. But it does improve after this, and that's good. So it means it's showing the show can like continue on without just floundering to a whole like later series, which would stop people like from watching it after episode 3. But I enjoyed it, and it was very good, and it mature like it successfully actually like looked at mature themes and stuff, which other people like other episodes of Doctor Who have failed at, cause they're too like to a younger audience almost, and that's kind of annoying to a degree. But overall, I think that's a good one. Thanks for watching the video where I rank all these. Yeah, so this is like a day after my last video. Normally I will be doing daily uploads. It'd just be like every 2 or 3 days or something, and then I'll be back to weekly uploads in September or August. And yeah, so my next video is the Approaching Storm review, which is a book to a prologue to Attack of the Clones. After that, I'll be doing Attack of the Clones review itself. I might do Turn Left or Stolen Earth and Journey's End review. I'm not sure, but I might do that depending on the success of this video to see if more people want Doctor Who content. And if so, I will do those. And yeah. And I'll also be doing, of course, the Skywalker Saga, which is going upwards, and I'll do Rogue One, Solo, Ewoks films. I might do the holiday special, I don't know if I have it in me. But yeah, that's all I'll be doing. Anyway, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Bye.